Good day. So today's lecture is going to be about the three primary IT security threats that you're likely to encounter at your home, at school, or at your business. So I'm Steve Holton. I'll be your instructor today. I'm a retired Army captain, originally from both the infantry and the Signals Corps. Signals being the sort of land communications group that also deal with, in addition to communications, information technology within the military. After I got out of the military, I was the director of IT for one of Canadian National Railway's wholly owned subsidiaries. I've also been an independent management consultant for nearly 25 years, and 4.5 years of which, in one of those mandates, I was the Deputy Information Systems Security Officer for the Canadian Army. Great job to have. Very busy though. Subjects that I teach include things such as leadership, planning and problem solving, security, and project management. Now, the other thing is the elephant in the room. Quite literally, I have a service dog. Her name is Missy. She's a Great Dane Mastiff cross, and for some of you who might be coming to my office hours or might be in class and might have issues with dogs due to allergies or perhaps a fear of dogs, please talk to me. We'll try to find some sort of reasonable accommodation that helps everybody. But she's a very gentle giant. But once again, not everyone's comfortable with dogs. I understand that, so we could talk through that privately later. So our aim today is to look at the three primary IT security threats that you're likely to encounter. Now, that could be at home, it could be at school, or it could also be at work. What's interesting is that people and their poor security practices and poor cyber hygiene practices still account for 88% of cyber incidents, according to Stanford University. And in fact, IBM believes that it's as high as 95%. I've certainly seen a very high percentage myself as the ISSO for the Canadian Army. Ultimately, much of IT security rests with you and how you handle different scenarios and how you protect yourself and the environment that you're operating in. So what are these three primary threats that we've been talking about? I can actually provide you with a list of a lot more than just three, but the three big ones that you're likely to encounter. Phishing and social engineering, which is the use of trickery to steal information and get you to take some sort of harmful action, such as clicking on a link or doing some activity that's not in your best interest. Malware, which is software that's specifically designed to steal information, lock up resources, and destroy equipment. And there's several types, and there's some really brilliant examples as well that have been used in warfare, which we can talk about. And then lastly, the Internet of Things, or the network of autonomous devices that are actually sitting on your network that are collaborating and possibly working against you. And once again, you need to protect yourself from those devices. So let's talk about that phishing and social engineering we mentioned before. It's essentially trickery to steal information and or get you to take some sort of harmful action that's not in your best interest. It could be a false link in an email, could be a phone call from someone pretending to be from one of your departments, say like the IT department asking for your password. IT doesn't need your password. Or some sort of other careful manipulation, such as joining a protest or some sort of petition that, once again, takes you to a site that's actually going to cause you more damage than good. So the idea of phishing itself is trying to lure information or to pull it in based on having a lure. Social engineering is using goodwill or other ideas to manipulate you, psychologically manipulate you into taking some sort of action. So the secrets to protect yourself is to be wary. Always have a certain degree of mistrust when you're getting information or ideas or links from sources that you've never seen before or don't recognize. Check your links. Go directly to the site rather than trust the link that's sent to you, and I'll explain that in just a moment. Or call the department. If IT says they want your password, no problem. I'll call you right back. And then you call the IT department and say, did you guys try to get my password? And of course they're going to tell you, no, we didn't. And it's another way that you can protect yourself. And if you don't know, don't click, okay? Once again, it doesn't hurt to pause and double check with someone, whether it's the ID department, finance, what have you, to see whether or not it really is a legitimate request. One example, for instance, that you can see in a link is that what looks to be a sincere link, like LinkedIn, is looking for wanting your password to be reset. In reality, is not actually there. You can see here where it looks like LinkedIn and it's a .com, but the actual domain isn't linkedin.com, it's false.com. It just happens to have LinkedIn at the front of it, and it's going to some sort of subsite or directory for a password reset. This is a great way to have your password stolen, and they do what's called a man-in-the-middle attack, where once they've captured your password, they will use LinkedIn and they will use it against you. So this is the kind of stuff that you look for. And once again, if LinkedIn says, hey, we need you to reset your password, which sometimes happens, that's fine, but don't trust the link in the email. Instead, go directly to linkedin.com yourself, or whatever site that requires you to do a password reset, rather than trust the links that are being emailed to you. So let's talk about malware, or software designed to steal information, lock up resources, and in some cases even destroy equipment. Examples include viruses, which are small self-replicating programs designed to damage or steal information. They're usually hidden within other programs or even hidden within data. Trojans, like the Trojan horse, a program that appears to be one thing but is hiding something else. Gain, for instance, that's copying and deleting your hard drive, could be one such scenario. Worms, which are larger programs that work their way through your network and slowly collect information and send it back home. Sometimes those worms then can initiate other software such as Trojans, or they can exfil information to back to the home network. And then lastly, ransomware, which is a unique type of Trojan that will, in many cases, usually encrypt your hard drive and then force you to pay in order to decrypt that environment. A lot of those are being talked about in the media these days. They lock up your databases. Imagine your entire customer database suddenly gets seized and you don't have access to it. And some organizations are paying millions of dollars to release their computers or their databases to get past that ransomware. So the best solutions, of course, are to use anti-malware software, antivirus systems, for instance, which you can buy off the shelf. You can also get them at the enterprise level for your business. Backups regularly, and ideally store them offline so that they don't get corrupted, because you could have maybe a virus that gets in your system and you backed it up so you can restore, but imagine you have a worm that's crawling through your network and it could find that backup repository and corrupt that as well. Watch for irregular behavior, machines slowing down, data getting suddenly corrupted. Report those irregularities to your IT team. And if you want to do a little bit more research, some brilliant case studies, Stuxnet and Buckshot Yankee. Stuxnet was the first example of a cyber weapon being deployed, in this particular case against the Iranian nuclear weapons development facility, where the centrifuges were caused to spin out of control and literally shake themselves apart. It was a joint effort between the United States and the Mossad in Israel, and once again, a brilliant study of how to use a worm as a weapon. Another good example is Operation Buckshot Yankee. This attacked the Americans, where their entire classified network, at least at the secret level, was owned and infected with a software that was also exfilling information. So once again, sort of a worm, as it were, and it took them a very long time to get rid of. And once again, poor cyber hygiene. Some USB keys were used, were bought, or in some cases just discovered, and people plugged them into a machine without bothering to make sure that they were clean. In many cases, it wouldn't have detected it anyways because it was a brand new type of worm. It had never been seen before. But they plugged it into one of their machines, and it infected that machine and then continued to propagate from there. So once again, a great example of what happens when you use poor cyber hygiene, and should be mandatory reading for everybody. So lastly, we have the Internet of Things, or the network that's created by autonomous third-party devices that be on your network. This could be things like your refrigerator, or it could be a streaming media server, or a few other things. We'll talk about examples in a moment. But these devices can function as kick servers or launch points to hack your network and steal information. They're often difficult to add anti-malware to because they're self-contained devices that are locked down, but because they're provided by hostile third parties, you can't add software to them, and instead you just have to monitor them. So once again, examples, streaming media devices. There were a number of them that were being sold in places like, I don't think I'll mention the company, but just, shall we say, low-cost electronics vendors that were providing devices that allowed you to before the Rokus and the Chrome devices came out, to stream media from third-party sources around the world. And these devices, while they were streaming media to your television, were also at the same time crawling through your network and gathering information and sending it back to wherever organization or country was responsible for them. Smart appliances. There's been a number of smart appliances that have also been discovered to be infected or to have malware embedded within them. Smart televisions, devices that unlock your door or tell you when someone's at your door. It could be thermostats, things like that. And once again, depending on the source of the device, a hostile third party may have embedded something in there that's going to cause you some grief. A friend or employer's bring your own device to work could be a problem as well, because once again, you might lock down your devices. There's no guarantee that your friend who's coming to join you when you put him on your network has necessarily locked down his, and you could be introducing more threats to your system. So something to watch out for. So in conclusion, people and their poor security practices or poor cyber hygiene account for the majority of security incidents. Like I say, IBM believes it's up to 95%. The three primary threats that you're likely to encounter at home, school, and work include phishing and social engineering. In other words, watch out for people trying to lure information out of you, and be wary, check the links. Malware, anti-malware software being the key solution, as well as backups. And then the Internet of Things, where you can use anti-malware to watch. You can apply patches to the software or systems, but once again, that's only going to do you so much good. If the device itself comes from a hostile third party, well, the patch is going to be just as corrupted as the original system. And then firewalling your network is probably your best solution, making sure that your network isn't accessible, or at least you block people attempting to get into your network to leverage that Internet of Things. And you should also have some sort of intrusion detection or monitoring system, ideally watching outgoing traffic. If you see someone going to, hackers.org from your network, it's a silly example, but seeing traffic going outside your network that you didn't authorize, or might be a location that could be a threat, then this will tell you that potentially a device on your network could be a problem. So that concludes our lecture. I'll look forward to any questions or concerns that you have. And once again, have a good day. Be safe.